Hello everyone, welcome back to Hacking with Ken. This is day 4 in networking for hackers. So today we're going to be looking at the two most important concepts and servers in our networking. One is DNS and other is DHCP. Now these can be servers, and DHCP is a protocol. DNS is also a protocol and service. So we're going to be looking at it. What are these? Like, first of all, we are going to be looking at DNS. Now, what is DNS? DNS is basically domain name system. Now, as I told you in my second video, that in the network nothing works without IP. We only need IP for everything. Okay. But when you visit a website, you don't enter an IP. You enter name like facebook.com or something like that, or twitter.com. But when we enter the domain name, how does router know that where to go? I mean, it's no IP. That's where the DNS server comes in. As you can see in that diagram, this is my browser, this is Firefox, and I requested the www.example.com. Okay, let's say I requested for facebook.com. I entered Facebook in my browser. Now what will happen? First of all, whenever I put domain in my browser or my terminal or anything, the first thing my router does is go to a DNS server. Okay, the DNS server is pre-configured in your router, so you don't have to worry about it. And then it will go to DNS server and it will retrieve the IP address. Okay, so first step, whenever you put domain or website link in browser, so the first step is that the request will go to DNS server to retrieve the IP, because in the internet, as we know, the packets get transferred or the data is exchanged is based on IP address. So internet does not work without IP, so we need IP address. So we get the IP, then it knows that where to go. So now we know the real destination of a web server. So this is the IP. Now we can go to the web server, and web server does provide us the content. So this is how DNS server works. So we need DNS, to be honest, because we cannot remember the IP addresses. Okay, IP addresses are difficult to remember, but we can remember the domain names. I mean, Facebook is not hard to remember, Twitter is not hard to remember, Instagram or stuff like that. So we can easily remember them, but we cannot remember an IP address. Okay, so that's why we need DNS server to do this automated work for us, so we don't have to do it. So this is how the DNS work. Okay, but there are a lot of type of DNS servers too. You can get into details if you want. I'm not going to. So next is DHCP server. Now what is DHCP? Well, let's say DHCP is someone who gives you an IP address. Okay, it's really important. It's an important server. The person who gives you IP address can give you access to the whole internet. So that's why you should respect it. So DHCP server is basically the one which gives you an IP. So the first step, there are a few steps in which your mobile device, laptop, PC, or any client device that comes in a network will get IP. How? So the first thing, whenever a client or a device gets into a network, let's say you enter the Wi-Fi password. So when you go in or you connect the Ethernet cable, so when you are in the network, the first step your laptop will do, that it will say who is the DHCP server. It will discover the DHCP server. Okay, it needs to, because we cannot operate in a network without an IP. We need IP when we are in a network. So the first step is discovery. Okay, the first step is discovery. Okay, so the next step is that the client asks that I need an IP address. Can anyone give me? This is the discovery. I need an IP address. I'm in this network. I need an IP address to work. Can anyone else provide me an IP? This is a broadcast. Okay, so the server responds with an IP address, that here it is, here I have it, I have this IP address, do you want it? So the client requests the IP, and then in the end the server gives client the IP. So this is basically the communication. You might see different steps in some of the cases, like as we go here. IP address request, IP address offer, IP address selection, IP address acknowledgement. These are the same steps that we just know, but with a little bit words messed up. So this is the same: DHCP discover, DHCP offer, DHCP request, DHCP acknowledgement. So basically, acknowledgement is that I got that IP, thank you so much, or like that. So when a client gets the IP, he sends an acknowledgement packet that I got the IP, and then server gives the IP, and then server gives the acknowledgement that here's the IP, here you go. So this is how the DHCP works, and these are the most important concepts when we are in the networking, because we need to know what is DHCP and what is DNS, because we cannot access website without DNS, and without DHCP we cannot access the internet. So I think this is all for today, and I will see you guys in the next video.